Welcome comrades to 1984 Law, and today I want to take a look at exactly when the party itself seized power in George Orwell's nightmare world. For a time I believed the question was open, though given Winston's vague recollections, we know this occurred sometime in the late 1950s at least. Winston is 39 years old or thereabouts, though his doubt in this matter is to be taken as slight. That is, he probably assumes he must be out by a few months to a year or two at most, but he seems reasonably sure he is that age. We can also pinpoint this rough period, as Winston also does not remember any mention of the word ingsoc before 1960, adding that he thought its old-speak form of English socialism could have been around before then, which is likely, as political movements don't tend to just spring out of the ground and randomly seize power. If Winston was 39, then in 1960 he was around 15, a decent age for recalling things, though in the world of 1984, where a continuous present is enforced and the mind is naturally more geared towards survival than dedication to memorization, it's understandable that Winston simply does not remember such details. Of course, whether Oceania or the party as a concept existed around this time of the First War is highly debatable. However, we do know that by 1958 the party was in control of Oceania and Airstrip 1. 1958? Yes, we can be reasonably sure of this year, and possibly even the month, as this is what the law indicates in Part 1, Chapter 4. Shout out to Cenindo, by the way, who commented on 1984 Law's video on They Got Me a Long Time Ago, pointing all of this out. The key information for us is in the following quote. The Times of the 19th of December had published the official forecasts of the output of various classes of consumption goods in the fourth quarter of 1983, which was also the sixth quarter of the ninth three-year plan. So if we work our way back 6 quarters, we get to middle 1982, and then subtracting 8 more three-year plans takes us to around mid-1958. Now, given the spurious nature of party information and propaganda, we still can't be certain of this. However, even if Winston's memories are generally a little hazy, it's still a decent rough guide of the party's accuracy on this. Of course, we're also assuming that the initiation of the first three-year plan coincided with the beginning of Ingsoc's takeover, which is why this is simply a maximum bar of the party's takeover, although the process could have taken a couple of years. Indeed, Winston's memory of confused fighting in London suggests it wasn't an overnight revolution, but may have been a prolonged struggle of a kind. One doubt I have, however, with this whole explanation is Winston's own lack of acknowledgement, which is very telling. Winston's memory in this period is not great, but he does seem certain of particular things at times. Back in Part 1, Chapter 3, Winston is certain that the party did not invent aeroplanes, placing these long before he'd even heard of the party. Winston at least does recall something of a definite time before the party then at least. My trouble is that Winston, by his own admittance in this chapter, has no idea when the party came to power, which is a bit odd, considering if 1958 was the time, or even 1957 say, this would have made Winston around 13 to 14 years old, hardly a difficult age to recall from then. Frustratingly, all he adds to this is that he's unsure if he had even heard the word ingsoc before 1960. However, he allows for the possibility that the old-speak term had existed, that is, English socialism, which seems very likely. For me, this may shed doubt on 1958 as the year of the revolution itself, given that such an event would have been easy to recall, even for an average person. Of course, different people have different lives, and impressions of events may impact to differing degrees on individuals. However, I still find it difficult to believe that the revolution, the very coming of the party itself to power, which so dominates Winston's life, would not be seared into his memory. Winston Smith, who later on in the novel demonstrates his true hatred of the party when he agrees that if it somehow served the Brotherhood's purpose to do so, he would even willingly throw sulfuric acid into an innocent child's face. Additionally, in any ordinary society, such an event would be universally known and even celebrated. In Oceania, we should expect the day the party rose to power to be as famous and celebrated as Independence Day in the US, yet Winston recalls nothing. In fact, in the same chapter, Winston even casts doubt on whether the current year itself is even correct. Unfortunately then, this forces me to concede that though 1958 could have been the start year of the 3-year plans, this may not necessarily equate with the rise of the party itself. So, piecing it all together then, we can say, if strictly reading the law evidence as indicative of a beginning then around mid-1958, which could also reveal June or July, likely the latter, as the very month of the party's ascent. So now it's your turn, comrades. Is July of 1958 the time the party emerged as Oceania's government? Do you have another theory? Do you reject any notion we can be sure of anything at all? Write your thoughts and objections in the comments section. And remember, Big Brother is watching you.